Good afternoon. I noticed that Ralph Dennis is not in the audience, so I don't have to say anything nice about him. But I am very honored, though, to introduce probably one of the greatest Rotarians in the history of Rotary. Somebody that this club has grown to know and love. Somebody, without a doubt, is probably the best MC that in the history of this club. Somebody that we're all proud of. I love this man. And I know you love him. And he wants me to make sure that you all love him. Dana Gerard, come on up and be our MC.
All right, thanks, Dave. Thanks, Dave, for that sincere introduction. And I thank you for holding your applause until the end. Unfortunately, we have a couple of people who aren't able to be with us. They were advertised as contestants, but will not be here. But we still have a high-quality field. Chris Pataki is in Washington with husband Roger. Apparently, Roger has a racquetball game with Strom Thurmond. So, I don't know. Something about Roger wants a seat or something like that. And Chris was fully prepared to sing Sherry Baby for all of us. So we'll have to wait for next year. And unfortunately, a person who's been with us has been a Poet Laureate contestant, I think more than any other, maybe 6 out of 7 times. Mike Evans called me yesterday and regretfully announced he won't be able to attend. I guess the guys from Arthur Anderson are coming in and he's on shredder duty, so couldn't get out of that. And as we know, there is some good that comes out of this program, and this year it is in the form of videotapes that are available. We've taped through the courtesy of Walt and Kim Morrissey the last 3 years of Poet Laureate. If you want 1 year's of entertainment, it's $15, 2 years $25, and all 3 $30. And if you are watching me on tape right now, you've wasted at least $15. And half of that goes to our service fund. So you can enjoy this program again. And,
no, half goes to me. I really need the money.
Okay. Half goes to Walt to get him a new hat. Let's go over the rules for you who are uninitiated with this program. First, there are no rules. Second, each contestant will be limited to 3 minutes unless they choose to go longer. There's no spitting, swearing, slaps, or any sort of Jerry Springer type behavior. The use of the words Nantucket and perfunctory are expressly prohibited, and we'll be monitoring that. And as is true with all our programs, at the end we open up the floor for Rick Holohan's questions. Now, our seven-person judging panel is sequestered in a secret location with Vice President Cheney, but they are aware of what's going on. They can hear everything, and they will be presenting their results via our Sergeant-at-Arms, Paul Sacco, at the conclusion of the presentations. And just a note about next year, the 9th annual Poet Laureate competition per President-elect Georgiana Roberts-Hyde will be an evening event. There'll be a social event with wives, spouses, significant others, or any combination thereof, and time, place, and date to be announced. But we thought it would be nice to make this a social event and involve more family members and make it a nice evening. So watch out for the details. All right, it's time for our Poet Laureate Quizlet. All right. Oh, Carlton Boone, by the way, on piano. Sorry. Let's give Carl a hand. Now we have 2 prizes for this Quizlet, and the first prize is a replica scepter. It's a replica of the actual scepter. It's awarded to the Poet Laureate, and this is autographed by all 7 past champions, as you can see. And actually, our contestants are playing for the traditional golden orb and scepter, and I'll show you that in just a bit. But the first prize is the ceremonial scepter, facsimile, and the second prize is a copy of Free Verse, which is the poet entries from our past competitions. So here we go. The question is, I'm going to read you a poem that was presented in our first competition back in 1995, and for the scepter, tell me who the author of that poem is, and for the book, tell me who the poem is in reference to. And I'd like, please, to read the poem in its entirety, and then you can all jump up with the answer. Here we go. In Rotary District 7150, in a club designated number 160, roams a guy who was born on the 3rd of July, who's as irritating as a common housefly. He is not fair to all concerned, just ask the lawyers that he's burned. Is it the truth that he doth say? The answer simply is no way. Not only does he fail the four-way test, but he also is a downright pest. When we least expect it, from the back of the room his voice descends us like a sonic boom.
I object to this!
Come on up and get your prize, Roger. He screams, he yells, he beats his breast, and claims the Red Sox are the best. While lo and behold, he can greet you in any language, I'm told he doesn't know the difference between an X-ray and a bandage. When to the podium he comes, he first removes the toothpick from his gums. Next, he straightens those funny glasses, presumably to see those whom he then harasses. Like all of his patients, he is full of hot gas. And I have seen scant little evidence of any real class. Now, I hope this loquacious quack can take a good ribbing, because point in fact, I am only kidding. Yet tread carefully, Roger, old buddy, old pal, or there'll be no one to help you if you end up in jail. Who is the author of that great poem about Roger Breslau?
Tom O'Donnell.
Tom O'Donnell's not correct?
Another lawyer.
Joanne Golden is correct. Lou Gelati. President Lou. I was going to say use it proudly, but I don't know if that's appropriate. Yeah. And don't be disappointed, the rest of you, because that's probably going to be on eBay this afternoon. So here's what our contestants are playing for: the Golden Orb, Scepter, Laurel, and Hearty Handshake. Which goes to the winner. Laurel and Hearty Handshake. Okay, got it. All right, enough about me. Let's start. It's our tradition that we start with our defending laureate, and this year will be no exception. I give you the 2001 Poet Laureate, past President Linda Allen. Where's Linda?
A little preparation.
I missed Ray.
You sure we're sitting actually too close?
As you may remember from last year, I had surgery the day before the contest and participated with an enormous bandage on my hand and a healthy supply of drugs in my system. I took some good-natured rubbing from a couple of Laureate wannabes about that, and I was accused of trying to influence you by gaining your sympathy. Now, you will notice this year that I am appearing without the benefit of drugs or bandages, and not a word about the agonizing months and months of physical therapy on my hand. However, I do think it is important for you to know that the depths to which a couple of contestants have stooped this year in what can only be determined as a deliberate attempt to gain the sympathy vote. Two perennial, translation, losers, laureate participants have recently undergone cardiac bypass surgery and appear today, at least one of them does, healthy and rejuvenated, for which we are very grateful, but obviously somewhat pathetically in trying to gain the crown. Now on to the main event. My poem today is an interactive one. It requires your participation in two places. When I pause, please fill in the correct word. I do have some props to assist you, but if you were here last year, trust me, you know the word. Rotarians may be slender, and some may be chubby. I got in a teensy little bit of trouble last year for naming a Rotarian. Tell me. Very good. No unkindness intended. It really was funny. And who wouldn't be charmed by a cute? You're very good. In planning this year my crown to defend, I have given some thought to making amends. How to do it, I wondered. I don't want to be mean. My words must be worthy of Rotary's queen. With style and with grace, with wit and with class, with tact and sincerity, like Father Drobin at Mass. I have to be sweet. The words have to rhyme, which is easy if your name is Lime, Dime, or Time. Peanut butter is harder, but I'll try once again. By now I have peanut butter cups on my brain. I know I can do this. I'll just pick up the pieces and offer my best to the Honorable Don Reeses.
Thank you, Linda. And I want you all to take Linda's message home to your children and grandkids tonight. Drugs make you a winner. Now, let's go back in time. 1999 was the year of upsets, and in our Rotary Poet Laureate competition, a first-time contestant, here is Linda bribes the crowd, a first-time contestant was declared Poet Laureate, and he has returned now for a second time here in 2002. Please welcome the 1999 Poet Laureate, Jack Dale. Let's welcome past president.
Linda, you're a hard act to follow, but I'll try. Give me a minute. Can you all see that? Over the hill. Over the hill. That relates to my poem. I call this poem On Growing Old. My name is Dale, the one over the hill. I start each day with my morning pill. I've lost most of my teeth, much of my hair. I need stronger glasses. Gotta get a new pair. If I had a wand, I'd try hocus pocus to bring my eyes back into focus. What's that, you say? I really can't hear. Come closer. Speak up. I'll turn my good ear. I use this cane whenever I walk. I babble on and on whenever I talk. And that's mostly about stuff way back in the past. Wish I could remember just what I did last. I need to go often. My bladder is weak. I have to go running, a bathroom to seek. After sleeping soundly each night for 2 hours, maybe 3, it's tough to wake up just to have to go pee. My wife tells me I must watch what I eat. No calories, no salt, no fat, unless I cheat. I'm getting big around the middle, I'll have to admit. My pants used to be fine, but they now barely fit. My joints sort of creak. I sometimes have pain. I do exercise some, but it seems all in vain. And so it seems, nothing works anymore. My life really could be such a bore. Yeah, it's tough to grow old. The lights all turn red. But I say, damn the torpedoes and full speed ahead!
Thanks, Jack. Boy, I didn't know he had that violent streak in him. My favorite part was the line about losing your hair. Thanks. In 1996, the second year of our competition, the Poet Laureate was Larry Golden, the man who would be president, and now the 1996 Poet Laureate, past President Larry Golden.
I haven't got any casts, no cane, no handicaps at all.
You're a lawyer.
Why don't they fix this thing for real-sized people? I received my e-hub Monday, and I skimmed the whole front page. 'Twas then I was reminded that this week we take the stage to vie for this year's orb and scepter with the golden name. Would this be the year that I could win poetic fame? Yet as I scanned the lineup of contestants in the chase, I noticed there was missing one old familiar face. He slipped between poetic cracks, that laureate diehard. Where the hell is Dana? What happened to Gerard? He's playing to a bigger crowd and soloing to boot as hubmaster electronique. He doesn't give a hoot. Making fun of all of us, he's quite a sly old cat. You're stuck with Dana if you've got Adobe Acrobat.
Stop it, Larry, stop it! I can't take it anymore. I'd rather lie awake at night and listen to you snore. Your meter's a disaster. Your lyrics even worse. I don't know what you call it, but it's certainly not verse. For 7 years, you've stood up there and made me sit down here. In all but one of those, you've gone home crying in your beard. Now, once again, I'm down here, and you're again up there. I don't know why, because frankly, you haven't got a prayer. Face it, you're a has-been. It's time for you to scoot. No hope for poet laureate, past president to boot. You're over the proverbial hill. Your rhyming days are gone. Get off the stage and sit down there. So we can have some fun.
Now, wait a second, Joanne, if I can have my say. Those are pretty strong words coming from a CPA. Leave me alone. Go back to work. Let others judge instead. Besides, don't you have books to cook and documents to shred?
Well, you said that you stooped to a new low. And coming from a lawyer, that's quite a curve to throw. To answer those two questions would reduce this new resentment. But on advice of counsel, I plead the Fifth Amendment.
Now you've got me thinking, Joe. I must be quite a dunce. I've tried and tried this 7 times and won it only once. Even then, when victory came and I was really glad, it wasn't 'cause my poems were great. The others were more bad. Poet amateur, not laureate, is my true rank. And for this stage from which to rap, I've Rotary to thank. For though the golden orb and scepter's what I'd like to earn, I know my day is past, alas. This year it's not my turn. My day of rhyme and prose is done. It's time for me to quit. Can't wear the shoes of poets if the footwear doesn't fit. But lest my throwing in the towel makes you want to cheer, be careful, or I may come back to rhyme again next year.
Thanks, kids. It's always a pleasure to not recycle the same old, all due respect to Larry, and present new blood in our competition. And this year, we're pleased to welcome Dave Shumway to the Poet Laureate podium. Please welcome Dave Shumway.
Among those who lost their lives in the tragic events of last September was a fireman, a widower who left behind his only child, a daughter. I didn't get to say goodbye. I didn't get to say goodbye that fateful day in September, a day I know you'd like to forget, but a day you'll always remember. I didn't get to say goodbye as many others did. If I had been able to, this is what I would have said. When the call came to the station house that people were in trouble, I had no idea while on the way that I'd lose my life in the tower's rubble. When we arrived upon the scene, what a horrible, frightening sight. I had to act, to do my duty, as oh so many were taking flight. I had no telephone to call you, as many others had. No way to say goodbye, no last words from your dad. I climbed the stairs to save those there from fire and smoke and being smothered. It was what I had been trained to do, to have no care about myself, but only care about others. I really wanted to stay a while, to be with you for many a more year, but there was nothing I could do to prevent your sorrow and your tears. Although I am no longer there, your joys and troubles to share, there are others with love for you, others who truly care. Because we never really know when the voice of God will call, tell those you love just how you feel, and then you've done your all. True love is often very rare and difficult to find, but you can give great happiness by saying what's on your mind. And so, dear daughter, whom I have left, dwell not in despair or sorrow, but rather on those who love you. They will help you see a better tomorrow. Although I've gone, never to return, and with poetry have little skill, I had to write these few words. I loved you dearly. I love you still. Although I've now said my goodbye, please rest assured I'll be near in your thoughts and in your heart for many and many a year. Love, Dad. Thank you.
Thank you, Dave. These, throughout the years, these poems have made us laugh, and some have made us cry, and some have made us think, and that was wonderful. Thank you. A tough act to follow, but nonetheless, we're going to ask Jeff Wheatley to do just that. Jeff has joined us very recently back from, quadruple bypass surgery? Jeff? Yeah, and a new...
You fell.
I'm
I'm not going to mention this.
All right, okay. All right. Well,
About my triple bypass.
since you paid me to mention it, it's probably wise that you don't.
I do not, and just to make sure you understand, I don't want anybody.
Let's welcome Jeff Wheatley and his new valve.
Thank you, Dana. Well said.
I know, 'cause I was there.
Dad sang in Berkeley Square. You can read us, you know, any evening.
Go ahead, please.
The square. Hello, chaps. Now, before we go any further, there's 2 points that I want to establish this evening. And before I submit my prose for consideration, the first is that unlike another contestant of bygone days, I have no intention of killing myself if I don't win. But I may kill the judges. Number 2, there is no question, as suggested, that I will go for the sympathy vote. You've seen that already. Fine, but thank you, Linda, for the words there. Now, being a scholar of English prose, I'm aware that all verse must have a theme, and my theme is simple: the year in review. Now, let me start with an announcement by the American Dental Association back in May of 2001, which stated that 65% of all American adults needed serious dental attention. This got me thinking about my own abuse of these important addendums. How I wished I'd looked after me teeth and spotted the dangers beneath. All the candy I chewed and the sweet sticky food. How I wish I'd looked after me teeth. I wish I'd been much more willing when I had more teeth than my teeth filling, to give up gobstoppers to me speck of me choppers and buy something else for me shilling. When I think of the lollies I've licked and the sweet sticky buns that I've picked, the Mars bars that I've eaten, the toffee I've beaten, how I wish I'd looked after me teeth. Me mother, she told me no end, when you got a tooth, you got a friend. But I was young then and careless. Me toothbrush was hairless. And I never had much time to spend. I showed them me toothpaste all right and splashed it about every night. But up, down and brushing and poking and fussing was too much when nuts I could bite. But if I had known I was paving the way to cavities, caps and decay, to the murder of fillings, the injections and drillings, I'd have thrown all me chocolates away. So I lie in the dentist's cold chair and I gaze up his nose in despair. I recall how I laughed at me father's false teeth as they foamed in the water beneath. But now comes the reckoning, it's me they are beckoning. Oh, I wish I'd looked after me teeth. Early in 2001, President Bush told us that he was a great fan of the blues. And I'm sure there are people here like me who equally enjoy the blues. Now, have you noticed that most blues songs always seem to start with, I woke up this morning? However, I Got a Good Woman is a bad way to begin the blues unless you stick something nasty in the next line, like, I got a good woman with the meanest dog in town. Now, blues are very simple. So after you have the first line, simply repeat it. I got a good woman with the meanest dog in town. He got teeth like Margaret Thatcher and he weighs 500 pounds. However, the blues are not about limitless choices. For example, blues cars are Chevys and Cadillacs, and other acceptable blues transportation is the Greyhound bus or the southbound train, always the southbound train. Walking also plays a major part in the blues lifestyle, so does fixing to die. Teenagers can't sing the blues, only adults sing the blues. Blues adulthood means you're old enough to get the electric chair. You can have the blues in New York City, but not in Brooklyn, Queens or Staten Island. Hard times in Vermont and New Hampshire are just a mild depression. Chicago, St. Louis and Kansas City are still the best places to have the blues. These colours do not belong to the blues, violet, beige or mauve. Try black, grey or muddy brown for success. You can't have the blues in an office or shopping mall. The best place is the highway, the jailhouse and or an empty bed. Bad places are the golf club, including the ninth hole, the theatre and gallery openings. No one will believe that you should sing the blues if you wear a three-piece suit, unless it's 30 years old and belonged to your father who died when you was born. Contrary to belief, neither Julia Ingargos or Barbara Streisand can sing the blues, neither can the Queen Mother. In closing, persons with a name like Elizabeth and Fawn will not be permitted to sing the blues, no matter how many men they have shot in Memphis. Jeffrey is another no blues name, so you guys are real lucky today. I'd like to close on a slightly less humorous note relating to my own experience in 2001. Jake, the Texas Ranger, went out one day to fix a distant fence. The wind was cold and gusty and the clouds rolled grey and dense. As he pounded the last staple in and gathered tools to go, the temperature had fallen and the wind began to blow. When he finally reached his pickup, he felt a heavy heart. From the sound of the motor, he knew it would not start. So Jake did what most of us would do if we had been there. He humbly bowed his head and sent aloft a prayer. And as he turned the key, he softly cursed his luck, and they found him 3 days later frozen stiff in that old truck. Of all the saints in heaven, his favourite was St. Peter. Now this line ain't needed, but it helps the rhyme and meter. So they sat and talked a minute or two, or maybe it was 3. No one was keeping score, 'cause in heaven, time is free. I've always heard Jack said to Pete that God will answer a prayer, but when I asked for help, well, he just plain wasn't there. Does God answer prayers for some and ignore the prayers of others? That don't seem exactly right to me. Of course, all men are brothers. Or does he randomly reply without good rhyme or reason? Maybe it's the time of day, the weather, or the season. Now, I ain't trying to act smart, it's just the way I feel. And I was wondering, Pete, my friend, what the heck's the deal? Peter listened very patiently, and when Jake was done, there were smiles of recognition, and Pete said, "You're the one. The day your truck it would not start, and you sent your prayer a-flying, you gave us all a real bad time with hundreds of us trying. 1,000 angels rushed to check the status of your file. But you know, Jake, we hadn't heard from you in quite a while. And though all prayers are answered and God ain't got no quota, he didn't recognize your voice, so he started a truck in North Dakota."
Thank you, Jeff. By the way, Jeff, this is his 6th year out of 8 as a Poet Laureate contestant.
About time.
We had a question from the audience as Jeff approached the podium as to whether his quadruple bypass was diagnosed with the 4-way test. Diagnosed with a 4-way test. All right, last time I'm getting a line from Schaefer. I guess it must be. Linda and Jack, Larry and Dave and Jeff, thank you for taking the time to put your creative talents for our benefit. We appreciate it. I thought it was a terrific competition. Our judges are now sequestered, and they're coming with a decision here any moment. While we're waiting, next year, remember, we will have this in the evening, time and place to be determined, so talk it up among your family members. Let's try to drag a few more people into this. Paul Sacco, do we have any word?
Yes.
Okay, please. Let's welcome Sergeant Paul Sacco. Thank you. Wow, it's sealed and everything. This is like talk about security.
Help my Anderson's coming.
Yeah. There it is. And the winner, the 2002 Poet Laureate, the winner of the Golden Orb and Scepter, Laurel and Hearty Handshake, Dave Shumway.
I think you're all too very kind, but I do thank you very much. It was a pleasure to make a presentation, something that really had been going around in my head for a long time, and sort of came together without a lot of trouble. But I do thank you, and I very much appreciate the applause, the attention, the quietness, and the friendship that I have developed with all of you. I may not all know all the names, may not know all the faces, but you are certainly all my dearest, dearest friends. Thank you.